This is Bob with Radiomaster, and we're doing a What's in the Box video today. We're very excited to bring a video with the newest of Radiomaster's top-of-the-line radio, and that is the Radiomaster tx16s Mark III. We'll be looking at what's in the box today, and just a special shout-out to Radiomaster for sending this radio. This will become my daily driver, and it just feels that good in your hands. The switches are all in the right place. They're on the shoulder switches there at the top we'll be talking about shortly. There's more room for your fingers, and so everything is right in place for this to become my daily driver. And so let's get into the What's in the Box video. As you can see, is when you open up the lid here, this is how the radio is going to come. I like the protection that it's got here on the knobs here on the top. And then the information that's on the side here, we've got a screen protector, which I'll be putting on. And we got some very cool decals. I really like the decals. And then a short instructional video or piece of our paper that shows you what all the knobs and switches are on that, and then also some of the functionality of the radio. These gimbals here are going to be completely adjustable from left to right and then up and down on both of the gimbals. You're able to change those around. So or you'll be able to take the length of them. You can shorten them, you can make them tighter, you can make them less tight. That's up to you. And so that definitely comes in the box here. And this box over here, and let me take off the safety strap that's on this right here. It comes off, keeps everything nice and in place here. This box right here comes with all this information right here, or this stuff right here. You can see we got a neck strap. Those are really nice neck straps. We got a USB cord here for charging and for working with inside the radio. And then here are the sliders that are on the back of the radio. We'll show you that in just a moment. But these are the sliders on the back of the radio. And for those of you who don't use those, and I don't use those, and I won't be having a need for those for any helicopter flying, I have taken these off, which is really simple to do. This is a plug-and-play type of exchange here. And so you just take and unplug these, and be careful with unplugging them. But just unplug those, and then the caps that go on the back of this, and we'll show you those in just a moment, or what comes with the radio, and comes inside the box here. So let's go ahead and pick up the radio, and we'll talk about what we're talking about here on the switches. You can see that the switches are all in place, and these switches here are, for the most part, what most helicopter pilots are looking for as far as the switch layout goes here. The radio originally came with the switches with a momentary switch on this side and a two-position switch on this side. What I've done is I've changed out the switches on this because I prefer the switches to be on my right-hand side. So I got a two-position switch back here and then a three-position switch here in the front. This is going to allow me to set up with the Radiomaster Rotaflight combination there. It's going to allow me to be able to have on this side here a kill switch and then an arming switch over here on this side. And so that's going to keep it where I can do that. And then over here on this side, you'll be able to use this, say perhaps for rescue or for resetting your timer, which is what I use it for, resetting a timer. And then you got your mode switches here, mode 1, 2, and 3, or idle up 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, you got the switches on the front here. You've also got the knobs here on the front, and I'll be showing you a little bit about what you can do with that. Here on the top of the radio, you can see that we have a bay here. No more do you have a USB on the bottom of this. You got a set in here for, say, a headphone or whatever devices you need to use over here. With this, you'll be able to plug that in. Also, if you're going to be doing some remote or some training, you can use that with there. And then here's your USB cord that will plug into here. Now, you're going to be able to charge your batteries from here, and they will also balance charge, which is a nice touch. So they'll be able to balance charge. And we'll also be able to go inside the radio and do whatever needs to be done inside the radio. So that closes off real nice. And then we'll talk about the antennas here. And this is an antenna here on the top, and you're able to rotate that antenna around. And let's turn it over here on the back. And here on the back, you can see where we've replaced those sliders with these covers here. These are really nice back here. This gives us a nice ledge for your fingers to set on as you're holding the radio. And then, of course, this is another antenna back here on the back, and it also is a good handle so that you can set it up on your desk if you're going to be doing some work on that. Also, you have a bay back here on the back that's going to allow you to put in, say, a 4-in-1 module back here on the back. Also, you're going to see back here on the back of the radio also, it's got an additional antennas you can put back there if you have something else going on back there. And then this is your battery, or this is for where your battery is at. I'm using a 21 or 6200 milliamp battery back here on the back. That's the biggest battery that'll fit in here. And it fits in the back of this very nice. And close that off and you've got your battery in there. And so that makes it really nice. And then just we'll cover this. Here's the grips for the radio, which is really nice and gives you a great feeling on this. So whenever you get this radio in your hands, you can lift up there, that on the back there. And if you need to turn this, you can turn this like that. And then you're ready to fly. And then we're talking about more room back here for your fingers to be in between there. If you got big fingers like mine, you'll be able to move around in the back of the radio a little bit better. So let's talk about the switches over here. These switches here you can order separately. They do not come with the radio, but you can order these separately. And you can change out, like I did, the changes that you can make here. And they're very easy. Once again, plug and play with these switches here on the back of the radio. So that really makes it nice. And then, of course, let's look at the three different kind of radios that we have here. We have the Radiomaster tx16s Mark II, and this is the Mark II radio. And then we've come out here with the Mark III. And then this is one of the radios that was launched before this one came out. And this is the tx15. And you can see the form factor on it. It's really nice. This is a super fast setup as well as far as coming on.
Welcome to HTX.
Really nice.
Motor on, rotor flight armed. Profile 1.
And that comes off there. So that's really nice there. But a lot of helicopter pilots are using this. And once again, if you're used to the switches being on that side, you can change those out and put that over here where you've got 3 position switches here. And your mode switch is here, and your mode switch will be here, and then say your timer switch can be right here. So that really makes it nice for that radio. But they've taken a lot of the things that made this radio a great radio, and now we'll put it into their main radio here, and it's really nice. So that kind of talks to you about what's in the box here. So once again, we have dual audio, which makes for very low latency on this. And then we've got the antennas, as we've already talked about. And then it's got a built-in microphone on the inside of the radio, which is really loud, which really makes it nice. And then it has the auto backlight button here, which is at the top. And that gives you the ability to turn the brightness of the transmitter up if you need to. And then it has a built-in motion sensor. Now, what's nice about that is you'll be able to move this around. So you want to work with your gimbal for your drone. If you have a drone there, you can use this right here to change the where your camera is pointed. That really makes it nice there. And of course, we've already talked about the sliders that are on the back of the radio. Then we have we also have the ports on the top there for the radio, which we've talked about. And then we have, this is a Gemini setup, which you've got the 2.4 and the 900 megahertz with the Gemini dual band on this. This radio also comes in different colors. So we've got black, red, blue, and gold. I prefer the red. It really looks nice. And then we have the AGO2 gimbals. I wasn't too big of a fan, or didn't think I would be a big fan of these gimbals, but I am. They're really nice. Also, this transmitter comes with the heavy springs on that, and I really like the ability to be able to have the heavy springs on this. This is also powered, the transmitter is also powered with the STM32H7 chip, which makes it really fast and has really brought some speed to this. It has a very low noise and a high-speed fan on this thing to keep it nice and cool. And has completely programmable gimbal rings, and we'll cover that in just a moment. Then we talked about the leather straps that are on the back, which really make this feel nice and premium back here on the back of the radio. And then we talked about the additional 2 antenna ports in the back. And then we have the batteries. We have the 6200 battery that fits in the back of this nicely in the back in the bay there, which is a larger battery bay, which really makes it nice. This one will have the 5200, and then this radio here has the 18650s, and you can once again plug it in here at the top with your USB and charge the batteries, which really makes it nice there. And it also has the screen is absolutely huge. We'll show you some things about the screen in just a moment, but the screen is actually absolutely huge, 800 by 840. And it is flush mounted here, which really makes it nice, which on this radio it has it indented here, but this is flush mounted, as well as the 15 is flush mounted, which really makes it nice. And then we talked about the switches, which you can also get from Radiomaster, and that really makes it nice. So you'll be able to do that. So these buttons up here are programmable, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's look at the speed in which this comes on as opposed to, say, the Mark II. So let's go ahead and power these up at the same time.
Welcome to Edge TX. Switch warning. Welcome to Edge TX.
And you can see how quickly those radios power up. All right, let's talk a little bit about the radio. We talked about the light rings, and we talked. Well, let's go back and let's look at these switches, and we'll show you what we did with the switches. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the sys button, and then we're going to come over here, and then we're going to hit the button there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to slide down here to the bottom, and we're going to go to switches, and we're going to press the jog wheel here there, and you'll be able to change these switches out now because they'll have different functions. But you need to go into the radio and change these switches out and tell the radio exactly what's going on with your switches. Once you change those out, you want to be sure and tell the radio what's going on with that. And it gives you the ability there to be able to go up and down and check your switches to make sure that you've got them programmed properly.
Disarmed. Armed.
You got that going on there.
Throttle active. Throttle.
And there down here on the bottom, you see SG switch. Let me just raise up to the SG switch. There we go.
Throttle
You can see it tells you which
active.
direction it goes. So that's a 3-position switch, which really makes it nice. We'll black out of that. And then we're also talking about programming these rings here, and then doing some things with the wheels up there for the S1 and S2. And let's look at doing something on that. So we're going to come over here to the Edge TX over here. Then we go to model setting, and then we're going to go to here, and that is the special function. Let's go down to the bottom here, and you'll be able to see what we've done here. So we have a backlight switch here. So let me tell you, well, over to the S1, and you can see we can take the brightness down. We can bring it up if needed. And then also the same situation with the sound. We'd use the S2 button. We'll take and bring that all the way down. Nothing. Bring it back up over here. And you can hear the difference there in the sound of the radio. And and then also doing the programming on the light rings. You can see here, and you go to edit, and then you come here and you set your switches, you set your different parameters here in the radio like that. So you want to make sure you turn that on, and you want to be sure and put that on the RGB, which is inside there. And then we're going to come here, and it can give you the different ways to come in there. So let's go back to rainbow. That'll give us the rainbows there, and gives you different ways to do those light rings. And then I'm going to come back and put mine back on red. There we go. So that's on there, and you want to be sure and turn that on. But you can see the different ways in which you can do that. So it's really nice. So if you do need to add something else, or you want to change something around, you just want to go ahead and hit this button here. And then you want to go to the 32, which is the addition from the 31 there, and you can put in whatever you'd like to do on that. So that just kind of shows you exactly what's going on with the radio here. And it really makes it nice. I'm really enjoying this radio. It really feels good in my hands. It's very super fast radio, and it really makes it nice when you make some changes in your Lewis scripts. When you go in and do Lewis scripts, it really makes it nice to be able to do that as well. So I'm really happy with this radio, and I'm really thankful for Radiomaster with the opportunity to be able to fly with this radio, and it's definitely going to be my daily driver. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.